because you're coming from that certainty. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was going to work, whether I do a good job or I do a rubbish job, they're still gonna pay me. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Whether I call in sick, they're still gonna pay me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
COVID-19 time now, if I wasn't going to work, they'll still be paying me. Do you know what I mean? Right now, ain't no one paying me. Do you know what I mean? So.
So I guess my question is, once you figured out your number, yeah, and then you obviously talked about, okay, cool, number, investments, said the second piece. My thing is, so now you've got in your mind the vision, plus you mentioned your missus backing you. Was there still an element of fear as such, like, because it's one thing to see it all clear, then be like, oh, all right, am I really doing this now? Or was it literally, nah, that's the number, yeah, boom, we're jumping?
Yeah, bro, still fair. Even up to today, 2 years later, sometimes, you know, you're just thinking like, what am I doing? Like you're thinking, and I think that's probably any business owner. Do you know what I mean? If from time you say I'm going to start a business, let's say you put your life savings into it, and you have a few bad waves or bad days or whatever, you're always going to be questioning it because you're coming from that certainty. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was going to work, whether I do a good job or I do a rubbish job, they're still going to pay me. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Whether I call in sick, they're still going to pay me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
COVID-19 time now, if I wasn't going to work, they'll still be paying me. Do you know what I mean? Right now, ain't no one paying me. Do you know what I mean? So there is that, and I wouldn't lie and say, yeah, it's all plain sailing. It's not, but at the end of the day, with all that considered, I'm like, yeah. And to be fair, you got to do what you got to do, because like I stopped working fully, but top end of this year, I started doing a couple of days a week of a job again. Do you know what I mean? So I had to do what I had to do. So for anyone trying to do this, I'll be like, don't be so stubborn. Like, I'm never gonna do it. You got to do what you got to do at the end of the day, especially if you get to the point where you got family to feed and whatnot. But for me, for example, going back in, I was like, okay, I'm only going to work 2 days a week. Like, and funny enough, the job I was doing, because I was doing agency, so I'd bounce around. It was very flexible. That they call me in the morning and be like, can you go here? I'll be like, all right, cool. If I can't do it, I can't do it. But I'd already told them I'm only available Tuesday and Wednesday anyway. But then you have to, there's points where it's like, oh, a paycheck again. And you start to get comfortable and they start to be like, oh, why don't you do more days? And you got to really like, why don't I do more days? But I'm like, nah. Do you know what I mean? So
temptation
you
is real.
You got to do what you got. So let me not make it sound like some great big fairy tale and whatnot. And there's also sacrifices you have to make. Like there's things I can't afford to do now. Like for example, I used to have a car. Now I don't have a car no more. Like I couldn't afford a car. Do you know what I mean? When I was leaving my job, I was like, well, to be fair, I was using the car to go to work. I'm not going to work anymore. It's just parked outside. I'm paying road tax, car insurance, just to go shopping on the weekend or go to my mom's house. It's like, okay, I'll just take a cab now. I don't own, you know what I mean? So there's certain things like that. If some of my friends are like, let's go and do this. If I can't afford it, I'd be like, I can't afford it tonight, lads. Like, it is what it is. So you have to be ready for that.
Well,